Story 1. The golden rule for making friends is not to be too picky. You are not marrying them. Honestly, 3/4 of the people I am friends with, I do not particularly connect with on a deep level. We do not have much in common except that we enjoy each other's company for some reason. Story 2. A good friendship takes time to develop. Never force it. Don't be afraid to invite acquaintances out on outings. Just make sure you have something fun or meaningful planned. Story 3. Be an attentive, honest listener, and people will appreciate you. Sometimes you don't need to speak. You can just sit next to someone while they are going through a tough time. This can create a lifelong friendship. Story 4. I checked my list of friends on Instagram to see how many people I had interacted with in the past month, and it was between 60 and 70. Mostly at parties, of course. My mistake was thinking they were friends. I will be sober for 3 years this summer. I now have no friends, not a single one. It has been 3 years since I saw another person who is not my girlfriend or family. Story 5. Learn to keep the conversation flowing. Even if you're not very interested, act like you are. It helps maintain a light and enjoyable atmosphere. Story 6. Be the leader. What this means is to figure out what you enjoy and invite others to join you. Take the initiative to lead events and gatherings. People will gravitate toward you because they enjoy participating in fun activities. Story 7. Knowing many people and having friends is a significant difference. I doubt there are many real friends. For real friends, my secret is that I keep my word. Story 8. First time I'm early to a post, and it's something I can't answer. I am waiting for social people to comment and enlighten me. Story 9. Talk to everyone about everything you feel like discussing and sometimes about things you don't feel much about. Similar to dating, it's a numbers game until you find people you connect with. Go to places where people gather. If you are sitting at home all day, you can't really complain about not meeting new people. Listen, if you hear someone expressing passion about anything, try to engage with them, ask questions, and seek to understand. You would be surprised how many people would simply like to find someone who listens to them. Friendship goes both ways, so sometimes it's easier to give people what you want from them in return. Story 10. I have received a compliment from 2 different friends that may explain my nature. They said they are completely at ease introducing me to anyone, whether it's their parents, partners, or friends from various social circles. They trust that I will behave, act appropriately, and not cause any conflict. In other words, I can get along with just about anyone, at least temporarily. Story 11. Years of forcing myself to become extroverted have made a significant difference. I used to be a highly introverted person, particularly because English is my second language. I highly recommend that everyone take a year of acting classes. It has definitely helped me become more talkative. Story 12. As someone who knows many people but has only 2 real friends, the older I get, the more I realize that having many friends is not what matters. There are only those who do not understand what a true friend is and do not differentiate between a buddy and a brother or sister from another mother. Story 13. After college, I had just a couple of friends for about 20 years. Then I started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and now I have friends I spend time with during training multiple times a week. This has developed into friendships that extend beyond training sessions. As a man, it can often be especially challenging to find a third space, one that is neither home nor work. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has provided me with that, and my friends there include those who are not afraid to show they care. One good friend is a retired Navy captain and submariner, who now runs a fishing and hunting guide service. A few months ago, he sent me a message asking how I was doing and expressing his appreciation for me, completely out of the blue. The best advice I can give is to try finding a club or sport that interests you. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu may not be for everyone, but it is definitely worth considering. Be friendly with those you meet and, most importantly, make an effort to maintain contact. It takes effort to keep most friendships alive. Story 14. My best friend is someone I have known my entire life. We were the best men at each other's weddings, truly best friends despite having very little in common. This is also true for most of my friends. I connect with nice people, and I believe that being kind is essential to friendship. Consider all the potential friendships you may have missed because someone spoke differently or appeared to be the type of person you would typically avoid. Being a good friend is simple. Just be nice and be yourself. If someone doesn't appreciate that, then they are not your friend. Story 15. Most friendships involve getting past the initial stage of being strangers to becoming acquaintances. Treat everyone as if they are already a friend. While not every acquaintance is a close friend, anyone you can invite to a barbecue is a friend in my opinion. Story 16. I had many friends and was in a community where it was easy to meet and interact with them. However, when it became less convenient, like moving to a nearby town, it took effort to maintain those relationships. That's when you discover who your true friends are, those willing to invest equal effort. I didn't have as many friends anymore, but I valued the close ones who truly mattered to me. Story 17. Making connections involves engaging in various activities and immersing yourself in different environments to meet new people. Being friendly with neighbors and inviting them over for drinks can help foster relationships. Once you are settled, don't hesitate to ask, does anyone want to grab a beer, get a bite to eat, or join me for a game? Or, I'm planning to do something this weekend. Would anyone like to join me or hang out afterwards? Show genuine interest in others and what they are doing. Remember what they mentioned during your last conversation and surprise them occasionally with something thoughtful. You may not connect with everyone, and that is perfectly fine. To maintain these relationships, make the effort. People will move and commitments will change, but if you want to keep in touch, continue reaching out. Don't hesitate to make plans and see who is interested, or simply say, I'll be in your area next weekend. Let's do that activity. This is where many people struggle. Story 18. I had many friends when I was younger, throughout my 20s. The key was to go out frequently and host parties when possible. Story 19. I am an introvert who isn't usually looking to make friends, but people really like me, and here's why I think that is. I am honest. Most people would say they are, but I don't just mean not telling lies. I mean being genuine, which includes directly addressing issues with people rather than talking about them behind their backs. People who get to know me understand what they are getting. They don't have to wonder what my agenda is or who the real me is. This wasn't always the case. I am 45, and it wasn't until my late 30s that I confronted certain things about myself head-on. Mainly insecurities that made me unhappy and impacted my relationships. People can spot a fake and generally don't like it, even if the phoniness isn't malicious. I am funny. A good sense of humor goes a long way. I am smart. I can contribute to conversations on most topics because I am well-read and well-traveled. And when I can't, I am an active listener. I am attractive. This is a double-edged sword and is a big part of why I am introverted. As a gay man with mostly male friends, people often have an agenda other than friendship, and it's exhausting. I am humble. It may not seem like it given all the nice things I wrote about myself, but I know who I am and have no problem admitting when I don't know something or when I'm wrong. It ties back to honesty and being genuine, making people feel safe and able to relate to me. Story 20. I put in the effort to remember my friends' birthdays, and I also try to keep track of significant days for them, such as the loss of a loved one. I make time to catch up and remember their interests. In the beginning of establishing friendships, I aim to attend any social invitations, even if I'm tired or uninterested. Shared experiences and time together are the best ways to become comfortable with people and form connections. It also takes time and continued effort. I have a lot of friends from school, various jobs, and through mutual acquaintances that have formed close-knit groups. Most of my friends I have known for at least 10 years or more. Story 21. I just say, oh my God, stop, and laugh whenever someone tells a story, even if I have no idea what is going on. It works like a charm. Story 22. There is no secret. No one has many friends. People can have many acquaintances. Party buddies, for example, always available for a good, stress-free time. But friends? Not even the most charismatic person in the world has many friends. Friends are sacred. They are the family we choose. Friends stick with us through the worst of times. They are the ones we can call in the middle of the night for help in an emergency. and they will answer and do their very best to get to us, no matter what. You know who your friends are in difficult times, not during the fun ones. Everyone is up for some fun. But when it comes to being emotionally present and fully supportive in a time of crisis, very few show up. The truth is that this is not a tragedy by any means. If you have even just one friend, consider yourself very blessed. Story 23. People say I talk to them like I'm talking to an old friend. They find it comforting. Additionally, I have a good sense of humor, I am a good listener, and I am resourceful. Story 24. I express myself and share my thoughts with people I believe will appreciate it in a comfortable environment. That's all I do, and I make friends almost everywhere. Story 25. I surrounded myself with many people throughout my life and even had a reservation for my last birthday for 50 people. I show up for others and do not let my fear of talking to people hold me back. I am truly grateful to have everyone in my life. Story 26. Most of them actually approached me, but they're scattered all over the world, so we only see each other a few times a year. This keeps the possibility of conflict as low as possible. A few of them I met through video games and my mean dealer in a forest. Story 27. I wouldn't say I have a lot, but having varied interests and experiences helps connect with different people, along with being a good listener. Story 28. Putting in the effort is important. Make plans, talk to people, and be engaged. Most people will barely respond to texts, let alone put effort into anything. The more effort you put in, the more you gain if that's what you want. That's not really my everyday style, but I have done this before, and it has really worked. Story 29. Self-respect is often misunderstood. While lowering your inhibitions can sometimes be taken advantage of, it shouldn't prevent you from meeting someone who wants to be a part of your life. Every person who leaves your life brings you one step closer to finding your best friend. Story 30. I personally do not have many friends. However, I have friends who have many friends. Through this network, I have many friends, if that makes sense. I'm the type of person who often sees people I know in public and says hello, but most of the time, it's just my best friend's other acquaintances that I've gotten to hang out with a few times. Story 31. Focus more on others than yourself. People judge you by how you make them feel when they are around you. People enjoy talking about themselves. Ask them many questions to help them feel heard. Do not pass up an opportunity to help a friend in need. This does not necessarily mean money. That could be the worst example. If they ask for assistance and you show up, most people will remember that and appreciate it. It is okay to have strong opinions on issues, but try not to make a big deal out of things that do not matter, which is most things. I am an atheist, and I do not become upset when someone discusses God, astrology, or anything else that I find untrue. Do not express that to their face. Lastly, focus on living your best life. Engage in activities you enjoy. Take care of yourself and have fun. That positivity is contagious, and people want to be around it. Story 32. I make friends by starting conversations with many people. I maintain friendships by refusing to be petty about minor disagreements, reaching out regularly, and inviting them to join me in activities I'm already doing. It requires effort to stay connected as you get older. Story 33. Building friendships is about being genuinely interested, consistent in communication, and making time for people. I try to be present for my friends, whether through check-ins or support when they need it. Shared interests help, but honesty and kindness are essential. Story 34. I wouldn't say I have many friends, but I believe I have a lot of close friends. Just go with the flow and be yourself. If you aren't yourself, it can become a headache down the line. Lying to seem cooler? The lies accumulate, and eventually you feel like you have to put in extra effort just to remember who was told or believes what. Forcing yourself to enjoy something you don't, people will sense your unhappiness much sooner than you think. Overthinking and trying too hard? That will have the opposite effect on them quickly. Meet people through activities or hobbies you enjoy, and don't be shy about rejection because platonic attempts can be turned down. The only thing I suggest people work on, if needed, is conversational and social skills, such as being able to read a room and engage in basic conversation. Story 35. I believe one of the secrets to making friends is to be genuinely interested in other people. Learning about their lives and interests will help you find common ground, allowing you to form a connection. To maintain friendships, regular communication is essential. It doesn't have to be daily, just enough to stay in touch. Story 36. Whenever I meet a new person, I always introduce myself and ask for their name. I try to build a conversation and learn more about them and their interests. I stay connected with people who share my vibe or have a good sense of humor. I send messages occasionally and comment on their stories from time to time. I am not someone who enjoys going out, so I usually reserve outings for my closest friends. I have several close friends, so I need to manage my outings accordingly, as they are not in the same friend groups and I cannot combine them. Story 37. They don't have many friends. They have many acquaintances. There is a significant difference. Being social and able to meet and talk to people isn't that hard. It's just a social skill that the internet has made more challenging to acquire. Honestly, if you can count 2 people you know who would help you bury a body, no questions asked, you have many friends. Story 38. Stay honest and be your true self. If people appreciate you, they will stay. If not, they will leave. As a result, I have many close friends who care about me. Story 39. I can't relate. I used to have many friends, but I cut some off because it is better to have a few circles of friends. It reduces toxicity. Story 40. I heard that popular individuals tend to be those who also like many others. So if you do not particularly enjoy the company of others, you are likely to have fewer friends than someone who appreciates most people they encounter. This explains why my social circle is so small, I suppose. Many people frustrate me. Story 41. I attend many local meetups through various social media applications. I exchange contact numbers with individuals who share similar interests. I follow up and organize groups to engage in enjoyable activities. Story 42. 1. Find a common link. I prefer to start conversations naturally. Try to find a reason to approach a person and then broaden the topic so the conversation continues. Ask them about something related, but just don't be intrusive. Put yourself out there. Make an effort to attend social events, clubs, or any other places where you can meet people. It may be challenging since individuals often tend to stay in groups. You might have better luck reaching out to people you know online initially. Be respectful of others and their opinions, but don't lose your own perspective in the process. This may be challenging for some, but it is important depending on the person you are speaking with. At some point, share something that reveals your vulnerability. This often encourages the other person to do the same, strengthening your connection. Keep in touch with them. Depending on how well you connect, you may find yourself communicating more frequently. If the conversation cools off, make sure to reach out from time to time to catch up and see how they are doing. I hope this helps. Story 43. I have a normal amount of friends. The important part is to genuinely care for your friends and for what is happening in their lives. Be the first to organize and propose activities. Be the first to reach out to them. While it may not always be the case, it's a good way to begin a positive relationship. Story 44. I mastered the art of going with the flow. Do you want to party? I'm in. Do you want to sit in silence and watch television for 5 hours? That sounds perfect. Do you need a last-minute alibi? Say no more. Also, snacks. Always have snacks. Story 45. Put yourself out there and start conversations. Join clubs and volunteer. Do whatever you need to communicate in a friendly manner. You may be rejected or ignored by some, but that means they would not be good friends anyway. Do not hesitate to distance yourself if they are bullying, toxic, or just plain unpleasant. Quality in friendships is better than quantity. However, nobody truly has lots of friends when you think about it. I view my relationships as being layered with a few close friends, probably a couple of dozen reliable ones, followed by acquaintances, friends of friends, and work acquaintances. These layers overlap, and sometimes you have close friends who drift away. It is sad, but it is a part of life. I still have friends with whom I shared experiences over 40 years ago, and I meet up with them occasionally. Mix in family, relatives, and in-laws, and you have a nice network of friends. You are likely better off than you think. Story 46. Friends are only beholden to themselves. They use each other like an ant colony. It's always this and always that. Story 47. I don't know, it just sort of happens. I'm not picky though. As long as you're a decent person who I enjoy being around, that's good enough for me. I have a closer group of friends, but the vast majority are in the realm of just some guy I know. Even my closest friends started by complete coincidence. They all began as just some guy I know, and it developed from there. I don't really seek out people I think I would get along with. I simply connect with people and friendship follows. Story 48. Be comfortable approaching people. Much of it is in your mind, and when you feel nervous about starting a conversation, it's very likely the other person feels the same way. Story 49. The secret to having many friends is less about trying to be popular and more about being genuinely open, approachable, and supportive. It involves showing interest in others, being a good listener, and maintaining authentic connections. Cultivating self-confidence and a positive attitude also helps in making new friends because people are naturally drawn to those who radiate positivity and security. If you want to build stronger connections, focus on being yourself and showing kindness. Reading books on personal growth and building relationships can also help you understand how to create meaningful friendships. Story 50. Be nice to everyone and always look attractive. People are drawn to those who are appealing. However, having many friends does not necessarily lead to happiness, as it may not feel like having genuine connections. Story 51. This was a problem for me as a child. I would sometimes forget to attend playdates, sleepovers, and even birthday parties because I was with someone else or generally busy. I made friends easily because I tend to start conversations with anyone I am around. I am good at small talk, especially in one-on-one situations. I am genuinely interested in what people have to say, and I like to connect with them emotionally. It is also possible I have a fear of being alone in social situations. Story 52. Work across the country, find a way to connect with anyone, and be selective about whom you choose as friends. Story 53. I am unapologetically myself. I spent most of my life alone, bullied and hated for being different. Eventually, I found two individuals who were a similar kind of different. We became friends. They already had some unique friends, so I eventually made friends with them too. I continued to be alive and honest, and together we met even more people. Kind of snowballs. I don't talk to all my friends often because there are just too many, but we all feel the same way. It's good to know that you can start a conversation as if you just spoke yesterday, and whatever happens, they will support you and have your back. Story 54. Show up, be a good listener, and show care. I feel like the people you sometimes least expect can become the most important. Be open to new acquaintances, but trust your instincts. If you don't vibe with someone, it's fine. We live in a loneliness epidemic, and many people are craving true connections, so seek out your community. It also helps that I live in a city in Europe where a good number of my friends are in the same neighborhood. Meeting spontaneously is easier, whether it's a walk in the park or grabbing some coffee or food together. For me, finding people was an adventure. Be open, be yourself, and be kind. Story 55. Holding space for them, being honest with them in a gentle way, celebrating their wins, sitting with them during dark times and grief, accepting and validating their emotions, and appreciating the time we spend together, even if it is just 2 hours after years of not seeing each other. I give them space while letting them know I am there. I am very fortunate to have people who do the same for me. Story 56. I am good at reaching out and staying in contact with people. Most friendships end because people do not make the effort to maintain them. Story 57. Take every opportunity to meet people. When there is a party at your university, go. If someone invites you to an event or out, participate. Is there a club, bar, festival, or somewhere you have always wanted to go? Visit it alone. In general, be open to anything that gets you out of your apartment and out of your comfort zone. High success is most likely when you go out alone. It may sound scary at first, and it took me some time to get used to it. However, when you are alone, you are forced to talk to people instead of staying within your own group. After you meet someone once, Go out with them again and again until you become friends. But keep in mind that it is a numbers game. Some nights I meet and talk to a dozen people, but I may only meet one or two again or even none because it simply wasn't right. To be fair, most of these connections are not very close. Just because you go out with many people and meet them often does not mean that you are very close to each other. It takes a lot of effort to maintain numerous friendships and connections. Story 58. To be open-minded, most importantly to yourself. Everyone is judgmental. Every single thing you see prompts some form of reactionary judgment, and there is not much getting around it. It's simply how the mind processes information. The key is to realize this but reserve that judgment for yourself and allow an event or person the chance to respond in kind. It may seem strange, but this means accepting that things are different from yourself, and with consideration, you might enjoy what happens next. Respond, don't react. Branch out. Say hello. Be kind. Story 59. Having a flexible and easygoing personality helps. Don't take everything personally when someone is in a bad mood. Don't expect too much, as people can let you down. Focus on what they provide that you appreciate without expecting them to always be there for you in every aspect of life. For example, I have a friend I enjoy doing outdoor activities with. When I moved, my mom was surprised they didn't offer to help and thought they were rude. I didn't mind personally because if they ever move, I won't offer to help. However, that doesn't mean I don't want to continue enjoying outdoor activities with them. Every friend is valuable in certain areas of life, but only a best friend typically meets all your needs. Story 60. Don't be rude and ensure that you are making as many emotional deposits as you do withdrawals. Listen carefully and offer what people need to hear, not just what they want to hear. Also, contribute your fair share. Story 61. Do not speak poorly of others. I noticed this a couple of decades ago. People who are universally liked never say a negative word about anyone. Additionally, living in the same place from kindergarten to 12th grade helps a great deal. Story 62. By being difficult. Not overly rigid. Not too lenient either. Being too rigid can make others reluctant to interact with you. Being too lenient can lead to others taking advantage of you. It's important to strike a balance where you can show your vulnerability without being taken advantage of. Story 63. I have one big group of friends. While some communicate more closely, we organize fun poker gatherings and have a great time. Be open and don't be afraid to seem funny or awkward. Just be yourself, and you will definitely find like-minded people. Story 64. I don't have many friends anymore, but I would say my biggest appeal was being a good listener and being able to walk in the shoes of others. Throughout high school, I was given the nickname of student outreach counselor because I was essentially the therapist for everyone in my class. You could argue I wasn't everyone's friend, but everyone liked me. This wasn't entirely wrong since I didn't share many hobbies with the people in my class. Nobody ever successfully got dirt about others from me, and everyone respected that, as unpredictable as high school kids can be. Having about 60 people confiding in me from various backgrounds made the popular kids like me enough to keep inviting me to events, even though I wasn't a party person. While those relationships in high school were important, they also showed me it's much better to have a few close friends. Nowadays, when anyone from high school texts me, regardless of who they are or why they're reaching out, I respond but don't engage beyond being polite and caring about their well-being. I have very few friends, but they are people who do for me what I tried to do for my peers when I was younger, and that is worth keeping. Story 65. Just talk to people and be engaged. Some people you connect with while others you don't. Be friendly. Some people become best friends, while others are acquaintances with just a smile. Story 66. I moved around a lot as a child and kept in touch with my friends through phone calls and social media. I made many friends in college and at various jobs, maintaining those connections. In my 20s, I started attending many parties. Although I am naturally quite shy, alcohol helps me be more sociable. I learned to engage in conversations by having a basic understanding of various topics and by improving my ability to ask questions about things I didn't know. Now that I am in my 30s, I have friends from every stage of my life. I make the effort to check in with them occasionally, and I feel fortunate to have formed good friendships. It's a combination of effort from both sides and a bit of luck. Story 67. Talk to many people, especially those you will encounter casually on multiple occasions. Ask questions. People enjoy discussing themselves. Look for common interests. If the conversation flows in that direction, suggest a suitable shared activity. For example, I love sushi too, but my partner refuses to eat it. Have you tried that new place on Main Street? We should grab lunch. If they seem non-committal, do not feel discouraged. They may not be interested in building a friendship, or they may want to but cannot accept your particular offer. The next move is up to them to suggest something else. If we continue to have pleasant interactions, I might propose another activity later, but if they decline the invitation, I won't push further. Listen actively to people. When you ask how they are or how things are going, mean it and truly listen to their response. Remember details about them and ask follow-up questions the next time you meet. If you can assist them, offer your help sincerely. If they offer you help, assume their intention is genuine and accept it. Story 68. Having all kinds of people around you, not judging them, and telling them what is right or wrong in a lighter mode while respecting their preferences is important. Make time for them and listen to them. It's just a short-term investment. You only need to spend a few days with them. If they are genuine, they will make you feel loved and cared for as well. If they are not genuine, you will know by then. Story 69. I have always had a knack for making friends quickly. It somehow came naturally to me. As others have mentioned, some of those relationships might just be good acquaintances, but after reading Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, I realized many of his principles were things I was already practicing. If you haven't read it, it's a great book. When it comes to best friends or true friends, I would say I have around 10 people I could call on if things hit the fan, one from high school, four from college, and the rest from after college. For over 15 years, I have had an annual weekend with my friends that started out as a bachelor party and just continued. Nearly no one ever misses it. Even if it's the only time I see some of them all year due to distance, I know they would drop everything to help if needed. Story 70. I have many acquaintances, but only a few that I know on a deeper level. It's important to have those kinds of relationships because when I felt like I knew everyone, I also felt like I knew no one, and no one really knew me. The secret is just being friendly and nice. Attend events or functions, perhaps through sports. For example, while I was waiting for my car to be serviced, I noticed a girl about my age who looked bored. I introduced myself and she did the same. We ended up getting coffee until our cars were ready. It's easy once you get out of your head. I used to be a very shy kid in school and would ask my sister, who is 5 years younger, to order for me in restaurants. If I can do it, then you can too. Story 71. I am a very open and sociable person, and I am truly interested in meeting new people. When I meet someone, I immediately know if I will like them or not. To be honest, almost everyone has at least one thing I like about them. I click easily with new people. The older I get, the more I realize how lucky I am to have this ability. Story 72. The secret is to expect that most of them are not friends, but just acquaintances. Once you categorize those people, it becomes easier to connect because at the end of the day, it is really not all that serious. You are just there to mingle. Story 73. Be genuinely curious about people. Everyone has something interesting to share if you give them the chance. Story 74. To maintain friendships, you must accept both the good and the bad. Nobody is perfect. Some individuals notice flaws and quickly end friendships. Story 75. I feel like I am friends with everyone but not especially close to most of them. Even the ones I am close to aren't around as much as I would like them to be. Story 76. I wish I could recall the specific scientific research on this, but the interesting results indicate that individuals can have many acquaintances, but only a select few true friends, regardless of wealth, fame, or power. So when you see someone with lots of friends, you are actually witnessing someone who is acquainted with many people, but may not truly know most of them as friends. Story 77. I have been trying to connect with people. Even my own neighbors won't talk to me. I'm a nice guy, good-looking, smart, and professional. I just don't understand why no one will engage with me. It seems that people are so isolated and suspicious that they won't give anyone a chance. Yet here we all are, looking for friends and wondering why no one will communicate with us. Story 78. To be honest, I have a lot of people I know, but I don't remember everyone's name. That's my secret, because how can I ask for their name after knowing them for months? Story 79. For me, it is all about consistency and putting in the effort. I try to check in with people, even if it is just sending a random meme or asking how their day was. Story 80. Take time for each of them. Be open-minded about different political stances. Avoid engaging in politics when hanging out. Do not speak negatively about others behind their backs. If you must, have the courage to address it directly. Respect others and treat them kindly. Avoid making each individual friendship centered around yourself. Focus on the other person instead. Recognize that different people have varying hobbies, interests, time availability, and boundaries. Reach out more often than they do to you. If you feel a friendship is fading, do not assume you need to pull back as well. Instead, lower your expectations regarding time spent together. When that friend reconnects, welcome them with happiness and openness. Stand firm in your principles and do not simply tell people what they want to hear. Authenticity is recognizable, and people can tell if you are being insincere. Story 81. The key aspect is to show genuine interest in others. Ask people about themselves, listen to what they say, and follow up later. Story 82. A 40-year-old man with 12 friends, most of whom are couples, maintains friendships with both partners. It helps when you have no children or if your children are of a similar age to theirs. Make an effort to keep in touch, especially with couples who have children. They are often too busy to reach out first. Some of your friends will check in and contact you, making those relationships easier to maintain. This doesn't have to be a frequent check-in. Even a simple message to arrange a meetup can suffice. Speaking of which, try to hang out quarterly or more frequently, depending on availability and the closeness of the friendship. Hanging out does not necessarily mean in person. It could also involve playing online video games or making a phone call if you live far away. That's really it. People value their friends, but as you enter your 30s, it's common for many friendships to fade simply because life gets in the way. However, if you make a little effort, those friendships can remain just as strong. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.